The email arrived on a Tuesday, innocuously tucked between a store coupon and a work notification. It was from the airline, titled, "Important Update Regarding Your Upcoming Flight." My stomach did a little flip of excitement. The Europe trip. After months of meticulous planning, clandestine bookings, and carefully guarded secrets, it was finally becoming undeniably real. I clicked it open, a soft smile playing on my lips, ready to pore over the details of my flight from JFK to Rome. But the smile died instantly. The confirmation wasn't for my flight. It was for flight BA-286, departing on the same day, to the same destination. But the passenger name wasn't mine. It was Liam O'Connell. Liam, Chloe's boyfriend. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic, panicked bird. This had to be a mistake, a glitch in the system. Why would Liam's name be on my flight confirmation? I scrolled down, looking for a typo, a different itinerary, anything to explain this impossibility. Then I saw it. Under the passenger name, in smaller font, was a confirmation number. A number I didn't recognize. A quick check of my own booking confirmation number. The one I'd received months ago when I secretly paid for 5 round-trip tickets to Rome, confirmed it. My booking number was different, and when I tried to access my original reservation online using my confirmation number, the system returned an error. Booking not found. Panic escalated into a cold dread that seeped into my bones. My flight was gone. Replaced by Liam. Liam O'Connell, the man Chloe had been dating for barely 8 months. A man whose most significant contribution to our family dynamic so far had been his ability to consume alarming quantities of potato chips on our couch and offer unsolicited opinions on football. And he was going to Europe. On my trip. In my seat. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. Nausea churned in my gut. How could they? How could they do this? Cancel my ticket? Replace me? Without a word? I stumbled through the rest of my workday in a haze. My carefully constructed world of exciting travel plans had just imploded. Every euro I'd converted, every museum ticket I'd researched, every restaurant reservation I'd fantasized about, it all felt tainted, grotesque. That evening, I drove to my parents' house. The air in my car felt thick, suffocating. I rehearsed different scenarios in my head, none of them ending well. Should I confront them calmly? Demand an explanation? Or just explode? I walked in without knocking, the spare key cool in my hand. Their voices drifted from the living room. Mom, Patricia, Dad, Robert, and Chloe, all laughing. The easy camaraderie, the familiar scent of Mom's cooking, the worn comfort of their home. It all felt alien, a backdrop for a scene I didn't belong in. They looked up, smiles fading as they saw my face. Olivia? What's wrong? You look pale, Mom said, her brow furrowed with concern, a concern that felt sickeningly hollow given what I knew. I stood rooted to the spot, holding up my phone with the offending email displayed. My voice trembled as I spoke, each word laced with raw hurt and confusion. Why is Liam O'Connell on my flight confirmation to Rome? Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Chloe's eyes widened, her usual easy confidence dissolving into something that looked suspiciously like guilt. Dad shifted uncomfortably in his armchair. Mom wrung her hands, avoiding my gaze. Finally, Dad cleared his throat. Liv, honey, we needed to talk to you about that. Needed to talk to me? I echoed, my voice rising. You canceled my ticket. You replaced me with Chloe's boyfriend, and you didn't even tell me? Mom stepped forward, reaching a hand towards me. I flinched away. Olivia, please, calm down. We were going to explain. When? When I showed up at the airport and my ticket didn't exist? The hurt was quickly turning to anger, hot and volatile. Chloe finally spoke, her voice thin. It made more sense, Liv. Liam and I are together. It's a romantic trip, you know? Couples. I stared at her, dumbfounded. Couples? It was a family trip, Chloe. For us. My family. And Liam has been around for 8 months. I've been your sister for 30 years. Robert tried to intervene. Now, Olivia, that's not fair. Liam is part of the family now. Part of the family? I laughed, a harsh, brittle sound. More a part of the family than me, apparently. So much so that you kicked me off my own trip. It's not like that, Patricia pleaded. Your father and I talked about it. Chloe really wanted Liam there and, well, you understand. You're so busy with work, maybe you wouldn't have enjoyed all the sightseeing as much anyway. Liam is young, he'll appreciate it more. The words landed like blows. Maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it. Liam will appreciate it more. They weren't just canceling my ticket, they were dismissing me, my feelings, my entire personality, and interests, all to accommodate Chloe and her flavor-of-the-month boyfriend. The years of feeling like the responsible, reliable, but ultimately less cherished daughter solidified into a bitter lump in my throat. Right, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. I wouldn't have enjoyed it. Unlike Liam, who will just love wandering through the Forum, or gazing at the Eiffel Tower, or exploring the British Museum. I looked at their faces, the guilt, the awkwardness, the underlying stubbornness that they had made the right decision. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. The pain was still there, deep and raw, but it was overlaid with a chilling clarity. They had no idea. They had absolutely no idea that I had paid for every single bit of that trip. The first-class flights I'd splurged on for them, the suite in Rome, the charming boutique hotel in Paris, the historic guest house in London, the private tours I'd booked, the cooking class in Tuscany, the West End show tickets. They thought someone had gotten an amazing deal, that Dad had used some obscure points, or maybe even that I'd contributed a bit. But the sheer scale of it, the fact that I was the sole funder, they were clueless. And that cluelessness gave me power, a cold, potent power. I looked at them, a faint, humorless smile touching my lips. Okay, I said, my voice calm now, unnervingly so. I understand. Chloe looked relieved. Patricia looked hesitant, still sensing my anger. Robert just looked relieved the immediate confrontation seemed to be over. So, you're okay with it? Chloe ventured. Oh, I'm perfectly okay with it, I said, the subtext hanging heavy in the air. You just made the biggest mistake of your lives. I turned and walked out, leaving them in their state of awkward relief. The drive home was different. The suffocating air was gone, replaced by a chilling focus. My mind worked furiously, not on the hurt anymore, but on logistics, cancellation, policies, refunds, non-refundable deposits. I spent the next few hours on my laptop and phone, a machine fueled by icy rage and a burgeoning sense of retribution. I called airlines, hotels, tour operators. My tone was polite, firm, and professional. I was canceling my reservations. All of them. The first-class tickets? Non-refundable, mostly. I ate the cost without flinching. It felt like a small price to pay for the exquisite satisfaction building in my chest. The luxury suite in Rome? Cancelled. 50% cancellation fee. Paid it. The boutique hotel in Paris? Cancelled. Required 48-hour notice. I was just within the window for a partial refund. The historic guest house in London? Cancelled. Paid a cancellation fee. The private Colosseum tour? Cancelled. Non-refundable. The cooking class in Tuscany? Cancelled. Non-refundable. The West End tickets? Cancelled. Non-refundable. With each cancellation, with each automated voice confirming the termination of a booking, a piece of the pain chipped away, replaced by a hard, gleaming satisfaction. I wasn't just canceling my part of the trip. I was dismantling the entire foundation of their trip. Piece by piece, stone by stone. They wanted to replace me? Fine, let them go. Let them go to Europe on a trip that didn't exist. I didn't tell them what I was doing. I let them continue believing that my ticket was the only casualty, that the rest of the grand European adventure was still on. I imagined them discussing their itineraries, Chloe and Liam planning romantic strolls, my parents anticipating museums and fine dining. The thought of their blissful ignorance only fueled my resolve. The trip was scheduled for the following week. The days leading up to it were a bizarre dance. They would call, asking mundane questions. Did you pack your travel? Adapter, Liv? Remember to exchange some currency before you go. I would give vague answers, a tight knot of anticipation and dread twisting in my stomach. Dread for the inevitable confrontation, anticipation for the moment they would realize the full extent of their actions. The weekend before the trip arrived, I avoided calls, citing work deadlines. I needed them to discover it on their own terms, to experience the full, unadulterated shock. It happened on Sunday afternoon. My phone rang, displaying Mom's contact ID. I let it ring. A minute later, Dad called. I ignored that too. Then Chloe. Then all three of them, in rapid succession, interspersed with increasingly frantic text messages. Liv, the airline says our flight is canceled. Is this a mistake? Our booking is gone. Olivia, answer your phone. What is happening? Our hotel confirmation in Rome is invalid? Liv, call us now. This isn't funny. I waited. I took a deep breath. And then I called Mom. Back. Her voice on the other end was a frantic, high-pitched squeak. Olivia, what is going on? We just tried to check in for our flight and they said the booking was canceled, and the hotel in Rome, everything is gone. I remained silent for a moment, letting the weight of it land on her. Yes, Mom, I said, my voice calm, almost detached. I canceled it. A stunned silence on the other end. Then, Dad's voice, booming with outrage. You canceled. It! Olivia, have you lost your mind? That trip cost thousands of dollars. This was the moment, the reveal. Oh, Dad, I said, a cold smile curving my lips. It cost a lot more than you think. More silence. Then, hesitant, Mom's voice again. What do you mean? I mean, I explained, each word deliberate, savored, that I paid for it. All of it. The flights. First class, by the way. A little treat for you. The hotels. Not cheap. The tours. The classes. Everything. Every single cent came from my bank account. The silence that followed was different. This time, not just confusion, but stunned disbelief, followed by a dawning horror. You paid? Patricia stammered. Yes, Mom. Me. Your dependable, overlooked, canceled daughter. I wanted to give my family a dream trip. A thank you for everything, I guess. A way to make some good memories together. I paused, letting the sarcasm drip. And then you canceled me and gave my seat to Liam. Chloe's voice, panicked and whiny, cut in. But why would you cancel everything, Liv? That's crazy. We can just book you another ticket. Another ticket? I laughed. It wasn't a nice sound. No, Chloe. You don't get it. You didn't just cancel my ticket. You canceled me. You decided I wasn't worth including. You decided Liam's presence was more important than mine on a trip I funded. So, I canceled the trip. All of it. You don't get to go to Europe on my dime after you threw me away like yesterday's trash. But the money, Robert sputtered. Thousands. Lost. Yes, Dad. Thousands. My thousands. Non-refundable. Much of it. A consequence, you could say, for your actions. Patricia started crying. Olivia, please, you can't. It's our vacation. We took time off work. We were so looking forward to it. And I wasn't? I shot back, the calm facade cracking slightly to reveal the pain beneath. I wasn't looking forward to it. I wasn't spending months planning it. I wasn't picturing us together. In Rome? You think this didn't hurt me? You cut me out, Mom, like I didn't matter. Like my excitement, my effort, my money meant nothing. We didn't know you paid for it, Chloe wailed. Exactly, I retorted. You didn't know, because you take me for granted. You assume I'll always be here, always available, always picking up the pieces or footing the bill, without any consideration for my feelings or my place in this family. You didn't even have the decency to tell me you were replacing me. I had to find out from an email. The begging began. In earnest, Patricia pleaded, citing family bonds, how much this trip meant to them, how stressed they were. Robert tried logic, pointing out the financial waste, arguing it was irrational. Chloe alternated between whining and trying to sound reasonable, promising they'd make it up to me, promising I could come on the next trip, as if there would be one. Liam was blessedly silent in the background. Please, Liv, Patricia begged, her voice thick with tears. We're so sorry. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. We'll book you a new ticket. We'll pay you back for it. You can't. Pay me back for the humiliation, I said flatly. You can't pay me back for the years of feeling like the second-best daughter, and you certainly can't pay me back for the thousands I just ate in non-refundable costs because you decided I wasn't worthy of the trip I funded. But the trip, Robert insisted, his voice rising. We've told everyone we're going. What are we supposed to do? That, I said, my voice cold and final, is your problem. You wanted Liam there more than me? You wanted your couples trip? Fine. You can have it. Or rather, you can not have it. Enjoy your week off work. Enjoy explaining to everyone why your grand European vacation never happened. Enjoy the consequences of prioritizing a boyfriend of 8 months over. Your own daughter and sister. I hung up. The silence in my apartment felt immense. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. It was done. The trip was gone. The secret was out. And the retribution had begun. Over the next few days, the calls and texts continued, a mix of apologies, anger, blame, and desperate pleas. I ignored most of them. The few I answered were met with the same cold resolve. There was no rebooking. There was no refunding. The answer was a hard, unyielding no. I heard snippets through mutual contacts, though I kept my distance. The initial shock gave way to recriminations within the family. Robert was furious about the lost money. Patricia was distraught about the ruined family plans and the tension between everyone. Chloe was apparently furious at Liam for being the catalyst, and furious at her parents for making the decision, and furious at me for being so petty. Liam, I gathered, felt incredibly awkward and probably regretted ever wanting to go to Europe with the Vances. They had all taken time off work. That time was now spent at home, presumably stewing in their regret and frustration. The non-refundable. Deposits I'd canceled were a significant financial hit I absorbed, but it stung them too in other ways. They had bought new luggage, new clothes suitable for European weather, travel guides they'd eagerly read. All now useless reminders of the trip they lost. They couldn't afford to book a replacement trip, certainly not one of that scale, especially not last minute. The dream was dead, and I was the one who had buried it. I didn't relish their suffering in a purely cruel way, not exactly. But I felt a deep, abiding sense of justice. They had shown me exactly where I stood in their hierarchy, somewhere below Chloe's temporary boyfriend. They had taken my generosity, my effort, my excitement, and thrown it back in my face. And now, they were paying the price. Not just financially, but emotionally. The trust was broken. The easy family dynamic shattered. They had prioritized a fleeting relationship over a lifelong one, and the consequence was the implosion of their plans and a gaping wound in our family unit. My relationship with my family changed irrevocably. I set firm boundaries. I was polite, but distant. The automatic warmth was gone, replaced by a guarded politeness. Holiday gatherings became awkward affairs, thick with unspoken resentments. Chloe and I barely spoke. My parents tiptoed around me, still occasionally trying to guilt-trip me about the money, but their power was gone. I held the cards now. I had shown them that I would not be taken for granted, that my love and generosity were not infinite resources to be abused. They never did get that European trip. The cost, the lost time off, the sheer effort of replanning, and perhaps the lingering bitterness prevented it. Liam and Chloe's relationship eventually fizzled out a few months later, adding another layer of pathetic irony to the situation. He, the reason for my exclusion, was no longer even in the picture. I used the money I saved, from not taking the trip, minus the non-refundable bits, to take a solo trip to Japan the following year. It was incredible. I climbed mountains, explored ancient temples, ate amazing food, and found a sense of peace and independence I hadn't realized I was missing. There was no one to accommodate, no one to feel second to, no one to betray me. It was just me, the world, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that sometimes the most powerful response to being discarded is simply removing yourself and everything you bring with you. My family learned a hard lesson about gratitude, respect, and taking people for granted. I learned an even harder one about the cost of expectation and the bittersweet nature of revenge. They lost a vacation. I lost a certain innocence about my family dynamics, but I gained a fierce self-respect and the knowledge that I controlled my own worth, not them. And watching them navigate the fallout, the awkward silences, the resentment, the simple fact that they didn't get their trip because of their own actions, that, in its own cold way, was worth every single non-refundable dollar I'd paid. Karma, it turned out, could be a very effective, if painful, travel agent.